This was the first home game of the 2021-22 season for the Warriors. They were down by 2 with about 2 left to go in the fourth. This is Steph right over here with the ball in his hand, standing 40 feet from the basket. This is what happened next. Isn't that crazy? This dude is going to be in mythological history books in the future. Anyway, about a minute later in the game, with 1 left to go in the fourth, the Warriors again found themselves down. This is Steph once again with the ball in his hands, and this is what happened next.
And goes the lead. Back to Steph for the lead.
The man, the myth, the legend. We all know Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter the basketball world has ever seen, but did you know there's a myth hanging around that he's a bad defender? Well, in this video, I'm going to play the role of Mythbusters and lay out some solid concrete facts and debunk that myth to show you guys that Chef Curry can also cook on defense.
Up in the Kings, and so
Hansy, this time it pays off. Curry. Brooks gets inside, has it stripped. Bazemore and Curry, nice advance pass. Bazemore reverse.
The first thing that I want to point out is that Curry's got a special set of hands. In offense, these hands allow him to shoot quicker than closeouts.
They have no timeouts. A three for the lead now.
In defense, Curry uses these long hands to deflect passes coming off pick and rolls and passing lanes. Check these out.
It's back to Steph.
Now, do you remember the chef loves to throw these types of flip passes? I'm fighting over the screen and I'm watching. As soon as he picks the ball up, I still have time to react and get my hand up. That's what they used to do with me when I used to turn it over all the time. So I figured, why not do it to them too? The next thing I want to highlight is that Curry is good at stripping the ball.
The Lakers were winless in preseason.
Means absolutely nothing right now. Still here by Steph.
Points in 52 seconds and 18 for the game. Pickpocketed. George lost it and Curry will finish.
I mean, check out these defensive plays against some of the greatest offensive weapons known in modern NBA. A strip on KD here. And next, a strip on the beard. Did you know that when Curry first entered the league, he had a hard time keeping in step with his matchups, and that's why he often got called for fouls, as he often found himself out of position. But as time went on, he was able to learn this defensive skill on the fly, and the chef even dropped a crash course on how to execute it to perfection. That's just footwork. If you could stay in front of him, use your body. I used to get into trouble being so antsy to get a steal as opposed to just playing defense and forcing a tough shot. If I can keep him out of the paint or keep my body in front of him, make him shoot over the top, percentages drop tremendously. Now that we have covered the chef's ability to strip the ball, the next point I want to make is his improvement in pressuring the ball. To have a full grasp on this, let us break down this defensive highlight clip. You can see here that Steph got pinned under the Blake Griffin screen, but still, Curry fought off of it and cut off the passing lane to force Redick to go towards the weak side and take a tougher leaner, which Curry easily blocked, since Redick wasn't comfortable with the angle that he had to work with. In Curry's words, once they commit to one side, it's easier to guard half the floor than it is to guard the whole court. Next off in this clip, you can see Steph applying pressure once again to Russ, and similar to the previous clip, he was able to lead and influence Westbrook to drive left because he knew there was the help defense waiting. So, are you not convinced that Curry is not the bad defender that many people think he is? If not, let me give you my next point to solidify the case. Curry is not only a vocal leader on the offensive end, but he's also a great communicator on defense. NBA teams execute a bunch of plays on any given night, so it's important for the defense to constantly communicate so they won't mess up any coverages and get exploited. Now, in this clip, I'll show you how Curry was able to communicate with his teammates to prevent James Harden from having a clear path to the line. Knowing that the beard is strong going to his left, Curry switched his defensive stance and influenced him to go right. The real reason he allowed him to go to the right is because he knew that help was going to be there, which just happened to be Iggy. Now, since Harden got sandwiched between Curry and Iggy, he has no choice but to pass the ball to Capella. But the thing is, Curry is already one step ahead of the play, and he anticipated the pass by switching with Iggy for an easy steal. Most people say that, sure, Curry can decently defend smaller guards like himself, but what about those bigger than him who can back him down on the block? Now, I'm not saying that Curry is an elite post defender that can stop any big man that wants to plow his way to the rim, but there are instances where Curry was able to hold the fort against low post attacks. In this clip, you can see that Curry used his feet and his 6'3" frame to body up Drew Holiday and forced him to take a contested fall-away baseline jumper. In this second clip, the Clippers were able to get the mismatch that they wanted, and despite that, Curry was still able to front Blake Griffin and tap the ball away to force the Clippers to reset their offense, which was almost the same thing that happened in this play as DeAndre Jordan failed to give the ball to CP3 at the block because Curry is fronting him extremely well. Lastly, what makes Steph Curry an underrated defender is that he has a great nose for the ball. In this play right here, Curry knows that Dragic wanted to use the Jermaine O'Neal screen, but before he does that, Curry beats him to the spot and steals the ball right away. Now here against the much bigger KD, Curry anticipates that he's going to go right, and after stopping him momentarily in his tracks, he uses his quickness and pickpockets KD right then and there. Speaking of his quickness, Curry also loves to do sneaky blindside steals off double teams and cross-court passes, and according to Warriors assistant coach Ron Adams, he wants Curry to be like the John Stockton of modern times. Stockton knew what the other team was going to do, knew how to gum up an offense. I've talked to Steph about this before. He has these natural abilities on the ball and away from the ball, and in guarding catch-shoot players coming off pins. He's good at all of that stuff. Now, if you can add that aspect of just understanding what every team is trying to do, and the times he does that, he breaks plays up inside of himself. If all of this evidence isn't enough to convince those naysayers who say Curry is a bad defender, let me just lay it out that Curry was the king of steals in the 2015-2016 season with 2.1 a game, eclipsing the likes of Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and CP3. And finally, to close out this myth on a strong note, here are some highlights of Curry where he put on a defensive clinic against the elite one-on-one players of the league, starting with the Beard.
Defended by Curry.
Now in this sequence, Curry was still able to swipe the ball even after Harden blew by him.
Harden played by Curry. Harden on the drive.
And in this clip, you can notice that Curry's hands are very active. The left hand is here to check Harden, and his right hand is to spread out and anticipate the drive and get those deflections if Harden decides to pass the ball. Since Steph was able to block his driving lane, Harden had no choice but to pull it back and take a contested three. If that's not enough, let's take a look at how Curry fared against Uncle Drew.
Tonight, Mike, after two exceptional games in a row.
This 2 for 14.
When Kyrie was unable to break down Curry, he drove hard to the paint. And if you pause it right here, you can see that Steph used his lateral quickness to keep in step with Kyrie and was able to block Kyrie's attempt without fouling. And in this last play right here, you can see that Curry influenced him to go right, and when he did, Curry just surprised him by picking the ball right under Kyrie's nose. So based on these clips and solid evidence, I think we can finally shut down the myth that Steph is a bad defender because, as you just witnessed, he can hang with one of the best bucket getters in NBA history as well as the greatest ball handler of all time. By the way, guys, let's move on from one Warrior guard to another. Have you ever wondered how Jordan Poole got so great? I mean, what is his childhood story and how did he get to where he is today? Well, if you want to know, then just click this video right here where I go over Jordan Poole's whole story. Trust me when I say you'll want to watch this one, guys. Anyway, click the video, watch it, enjoy it, and as always, I'll see you on the other side.